Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, Samuel?
I'm good. How are you? How are you, Adeline?
Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. How are you?
We are good.
Yes, you're all very welcome to the hackathon meeting today. And I'll request that Samuel shares our first slide as we welcome more people to join in.
Okay.
You are again very welcome.
Thank you. Shortly.
As you may be aware, those who have been invited, this is a very important occasion. It's an event that is part of the annual conference of UFAAS for the Agriculture Extension Week. And we are very happy that this is taking place at the national level. So you please, as you join in, you're all very welcome. I'll request Samuel, please share our first slide, and then we can move on. Okay. Thank you for keeping time. Thank you for coming. Thank you for logging in and sparing this time to join in this important event.
All right, let me share the slide now.
Thank you. Please, as you join in, we are excited that we are having this this event with us. And please, as you join in, just kindly share your email, share your names, and the team that you belong to. Share your names, your contacts, that is the telephone and the email, the team that you are representing. And I'll ask Samuel, please just type that in for me in the chat room. Let the participants share their telephone, contact, email, and the teams that again, very welcome to Hackathon 2021. As you can see from the slides, this is an UFAAS and UFAAS event. It's a national event where we are having important contestants coming on board to share their ideas, to share their innovations. And as you're aware that you will be also participating in the Agriculture Extension Week, there's a registration that you will make. And this will be online, both virtual and physical, but we will require that those who are physical are minimized. You are all aware about the SOPs of COVID. So we will have to minimize the number of physical participants, but you're welcome to also join online as you learn more about the All Africa-wide Extension Week. So Samuel, thank you for sharing that in the chat. And then could you kindly put it in the slideshow?
Okay. Sure.
The slide.
Can you see my screen now?
I'm seeing, but it.
We are seeing the screen, but it is not in presentation show sound.
Oh, okay. Sorry. How is that now?
It's now fine.
Oh, great. Right. So thank you, Adeline, for that welcome. I'm glad that we are here, everyone.
Yes, this is better. Thank you.
So kindly type in the chat your name and your team, as well as your contact.
Thanks. Because I can see we are already 13, I think we are set to go. We have our program with us.
Yes.
And our program runs for 5 days. So I'll require that we just run through the program for the 5 days, what the activities will look like. And then we can start on the program. But before we start on the program, I'll request one of our contestants who has joined in, kindly lead us in an opening prayer, and then we can start to review the program. I don't want to request a volunteer, please. Kindly, any volunteer to take us through the opening prayer. Thank you.
Lord, our Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this time. Thank you for gathering us, all of us together, wherever we are. And we want to pray for this launch of the important activity in the activities of UFAAS and AEAS. We pray for everybody. We pray for whatever is going to be presented and whatever is going to be discussed. We want to put it into your hands and under your supervision. That, Lord, what the outputs of this meeting will be beneficial to all of us. In your name we have prayed.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Beatrice, for that.
Thank you very much, Beatrice.
Okay.
And as we all know, we are going to have this 5-day event, and we will quickly go through the 5-day event program. I'll ask Samuel to share this with us. So, okay, Beatrice has shared, and we will start with today, which is our first day. Are we all able to see? In case you have any issue, I request that you raise your hand. I guess we are all conversant with the Zoom apps, and we are able to know which icon can raise a hand, which icon can clap, which icon can, you know, how you can type in the chat room. At least I can see some people who have already introduced themselves in the chat room. Let the introductions continue, and we will start with day 1. For this UFAAS Hackathon 2021, we have our facilitators, Mr. Samuel Muyinda, and this one is from UFAAS, the Forum for Agriculture. We also have Mrs. Elizabeth Asimwe. This one is our communication information for AFA, the umbrella organization for UFAAS, as you will be informed late when we are
We are losing you.
What UFAAS is, level of AFAS, which is Africa Agriculture Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services. So Elizabeth, who is representing DOS, a co-facilitator for this. Is it clearer now?
Yes, we are. You're clear now.
Is it clearer now?
It is.
Okay. Sorry for that. We have Mr. George Serwada, who is also representing UFAAS, and myself, Adeline Muhebwa, who is the vice chairperson for UFAAS. At this time, I'm just a facilitator. You are again very welcome to Hackathon 2021. And we are calling it a mini hackathon because it's happening in other different countries. So this is the Uganda mini hackathon, and we will again have the overall for the Africa continent. Just to take you through the 5-day event. Today is a hackathon, and we have already done this, and we are also going to get to know one another. How are we going to do that? We have typed our themes in the chat room. If you haven't, we can get to know the people who are in the room with us. Then we are going into the welcome remarks by the Ufa CEO. And she will be introducing herself in due course. Then we are going to go to the orientation about the hackathon rules. And this will be done by the facilitator from DOStream. And we move on to the overview of the project and some key highlights or keynote. Later, we will have a question and answer session. And after, we will then go into around midday, and then we can proceed with other hackathon processes until we eventually when we have a presentation from the judges. So please, let's make sure that we are connected, we are logged in, we are together with the program, we have a copy of this program, and then we follow whatever is taking place so that you don't lose out. At the final, we have high-level judges that have been selected that will be doing the scores for our ideas, our innovations for agriculture extension, and we will be then getting to know who eventually takes the prize. So again, this is a very important but very interesting event. You're all again very welcome. So without wasting much time, we will go straight into the welcome remarks, and we will ask the CEO of UFAAS to take us through this. Again, you're all very welcome. Mrs. Beatrice Luzove, CEO
Thank you very
of
much.
UFAAS.
Can I be given permission to share?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Okay. I was saying that.
Yes,
Hello?
we can see it.
Okay. I just want, you are all welcome to this, and I wanted our participants, especially those who are not actually, maybe who are hearing about UFAAS for the first time, or and they are not UFAAS members. I'm sure there may be some of them are UFAAS members here. UFAAS is a forum of the AFAS, that is Africa Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services. We are the country chapter, and we bring together all agriculture extension and advisory services actors. I'll talk about that AES later in my next presentation. From all the sectors, public, private, academia, mention them as I put them there. And this is actually something which is, we've said we're a country chapter, and the AFAS itself is a continental chapter of the GIFRAS, what we call GIFRAS, or Global Forum for Rural Advisory Services. And so UFAAS at national level, we are just one of the many country chapters in the different countries. I think maybe when Max is doing his keynote, we'll talk about this, but we are many. And the problem, I may not say, but what came out is that, Extension had a problem of organizing itself. There was no networking and information sharing. There were less opportunities and low capacity, performance, and value for no respect for agriculture extension. So that's how all this came in. These chapters came in all the way to the global level. And in Uganda, since 2013, this has been our focus. We've been focusing on institutional development, on networking and information sharing, capacity development, lobby and advocacy, and professionalization. And currently, this is our vision. We want quality AES effectively contributing to agriculture development in Uganda. And our focus, our mission is to promote an effective and efficient, innovative AES system. AES is Agriculture Extension and Advisory Services. Through strategic partnerships, advocacy, capacity building, information sharing, and interactions. And those are the four strategic objectives, and you can see all these things come in, you see issues of information sharing, networking, and later I'll also talk about, I think, the theme one, which is mainly on enhancing professionalization, ethical conduct of AES in Uganda. I think that is what we have. And we have, I think that one, we have a membership, I haven't updated that, but we really, the main activities which we do, I just summarize them in this sheet. We work with the government or the Ministry of Agriculture. We have the governance and management structure. We have national and regional mobilization and sensitization of actors. We network, we have a website, we have COP meetings, community of practice meeting. We also engage media, and we enhance, and then we also work on enhancing capacity of AES. And we are involved in numerous partnerships, both at local and international. And we also participate in the planning, national planning policy together with the ministry. What I'll just say, something that blocks my thing, that is UFAAS with the ICT and CSA with the main things here. Out of the membership, 46% of the UFAAS individuals are youth, who are really ICT savvy. 4 of the organizations are youth-led, and 5 are in ICT with agriculture with numerous innovations. Currently, we are one of the chapters which are implementing CADAP XP 4, which is actually where the hackathon actually falls. And we have different technical working groups, including the one on ICT and another on climate smart agriculture. But we have also others on policy and foresighting. that were formed. And during the 2020, I don't know the people who are here participated, we had a session where we had important sessions hosted. We hosted 6 emerging e-extension models that were presented in that extension, the e-extension symposium, which was held last July. And we also have climate capacity development. Okay, we had a climate smart capacity and needs assessment of actors. There's a word missing there. We also had it last year. To go on, under the CSA Technical Working Group, again starting October, and under the CADAPEX before, Uganda has been implementing the project on enhancing the scalability of CSA among AEAS actors. And the activities that utilized ICT platforms and methodologies included the mapping of 65 CSA initiatives, profiling the CSA activities of member organizations, capturing 11 case stories on climate smart agriculture, and production of various knowledge products. And AES also developed an e-registration portal for AES actors. I'll talk about that more. And UFAAS is also coordinating different social media platforms of AES actors that make networking and dissemination of information faster and reaching a wider range. I think the rest I will talk about it later. Thank you very much. I think people can ask me, but I think that is what is UFAAS in a nutshell. Thank you very much. And you are all welcome to this event of today of launching the hackathon and AFAS and UFAAS.
Thank you very much, Beatrice. A round of applause to our CEO, that is the CEO of UFAAS. And I'll require that the other facilitators, maybe if you have any questions, I'll ask Samuel, please, to just check out in case we have anybody putting up their hands for maybe more clarification on UFAAS and what the milestone we have reached today. So I'll require that in case we don't have any questions, we proceed with our program. And I invite our second facilitator, Samuel, to take us through the next piece of program. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Adeline, and thank you, Madam Chair, for your presentation. Good morning, everyone, once again. We are glad to have you here in today's hackathon. Samuel Muyinda, I'll be taking you through this session. So let me share my screen and we shall proceed. Hello.
Yes, Sam, we can hear you.
Okay. Now, we are holding the hackathon today. It's the UFAAS Hackathon 2021, as mentioned earlier by Mrs. Adeline, that it's a mini hackathon, part of the Continental Hackathon, which has been scheduled to be held in October to November this year. So the core theme for this hackathon is to develop smart innovations for improved agriculture production and markets, farmers adaptation to climate change and research. So it's geared more towards bringing technology into agriculture and having smarter solutions to the change to the climate smart challenges. So, what is a hackathon? A hackathon is basically an innovation competition where people come together to build products that solve challenges. So, for our case, we have the challenge is to have smart innovations that will spearhead agricultural research and also mitigate climate change challenges, as well as playing a bigger role into improving the advisory services in agriculture. So I would like to know if any of you has been to a hackathon before. Those who are participating, you can mention whether you've been to one before in the chat area. I think that is fine. Okay, so what's the background of the whole hackathon? The core theme is to develop smart innovations for research in agriculture. That's the core theme. But then the objective to that regard is to have project is that the CADA project, which is facilitating this process, is to support a science and innovation-led climate-relevant agricultural transformation in agriculture in Africa, which aims at strengthening the capacities of organizations. Say we have UFAAS, we have ASARECA, CADESA, CORAF, and FARA. They are to help them to deliver their agricultural research for development. And we expect to have an outcome of improved effectiveness of African knowledge and innovation systems, demand-driven public policies and agricultural research and extension services, and enhanced knowledge sharing, technology development for climate change adaptation and mitigation of agriculture and food systems. So the dates for this event, that today we shall be commencing, and that has already kicked off, and we shall be ending on 8th. That's when we shall be announcing the winners. So simple guidelines for those for the participants is that we expect you to develop a project within the few days that we have. You don't have to bring out a fully functioned project, but should be a presentable prototype which can be tested and then reviewed. So we expect you to bring to present your projects via a video of just 3 minutes. We shall have a demonstration of your work, which will be done via the video, the 3-minute video. And then we shall also have, we shall request you, we encourage you to document the functionality of your product, of your prototype or project, which can best be done using screenshots and probably a screen recording. Then it would be best if you have a README file that helps us to really grasp what what the project is all about. Then the GitHub repository has been availed, to which you shall be submitting your projects. So for now, that's all we shall be having. Let's get the keynote address. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samuel. Maybe before we just get the keynote, we wanted to know whether there's some maybe need for clarification on anything that Samuel has said. Can you kindly put up your hand? Our other facilitator is Elizabeth. Elizabeth, please see for us whether there are any hands raised for clarifications or in the chat room. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe as we wait for anyone that needs clarification, just to note, the hackathon does not limit you to only developing something new. If you already have something that you submitted as a project, you will still be allowed to build onto that. Anything that is innovation within agriculture and extension service and markets for agriculture is welcome. So the idea is you'll be refining if there is need to what you have. But if what you have already fits what is required, then it is as simple as you giving us the concept note, your design description, and submitting your code on GitHub and presenting to the rest of the team. So you can submit a new idea, you can work on a new idea, but you can as well submit what you already have that is working. Yeah, so there are many options, as long as it's leading to innovation in agriculture. Thank you. My name is George.
Thank you, George, for that add-on. Yes, it's very important that at this time we understand what we are going to participate in and what is required of us. I'll request if the contestants have any questions,
yeah, we have
please raise your hands.
Adeline, we have a hand up from Jibusiwa Joseph.
Thank you. Joseph, please share what you have to share. Kindly unmute.
Joseph?
Joseph, please.
Unmute.
Can somebody assist to unmute?
Good morning, Joseph.
Yes, you hear me?
Good morning.
Yes.
All right. Okay. My it's a concern, but I think I'm requesting for more information. Or like there's somewhere you said we submit our source code for the ID, whatever we've done, to come up with. Now, just a gentleman who has just shared something that in case we have already existing systems or products that are in line with the concept, we can actually share that. Now, of course, now the issue comes in with security. For me to share entirely my project, my source code, how comfortable shall I be with that? Yeah, that's my concern.
All right. Can I handle that?
Yes, please.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Joseph. So, Joseph, one of the requirements for this hackathon is open source. Doesn't mean that you're going to lose your idea. It means that others can build onto your idea. And if you do have existing projects which you are not willing to put out for the open source policy, then it means you can instead work on something new, which you may be free to put out for open source policy. Yeah, so that's the only requirement that whatever we're going to be coming up with is, I think it was in the write-up that we put out on the website, it's open source. You'll be supported, but through in the line of open source. The idea is to have, not that your ideas are going to be stolen, it's because this side of this line of work, agriculture and extension work, especially the extension bit, we haven't had so much innovation in terms of ICT, so much support into professionalizing and managing. That's why the drive is for open source, such that if someone has an idea, very many people can benefit from it to build the industry. So we're not saying you put out your project that you have already struggled so hard to put out. We're saying you only put what you're willing to have as open source.
Okay, okay, understand you on that.
Yeah, so the whole issue is to bring in more and more innovation into the industry. That if you have worked onto something and people don't have to reinvent the wheel, if you already worked on, say, for example, UFAAS has an e-registration, which e-registration, if one of the contestants said, me, I want to build onto that, it's open because we want innovation, we want improvement onto what we already have.
Right.
So,
just for more clarity.
Yes, please.
Okay, if that's the case, yeah, open source. What about it's fine if I come up with something which is open source with is the end product. Say for example, if I've come up with an idea and I've documented it and I've come up with the prototype. Now, let me assuming maybe you've considered me and you're taking me up. What is the like? Can I say the proprietary? Yeah, something like proprietary or ownership, or is it now to UFAAS or it's literally addressed as to me? UFAAS, literally, yeah, UFAAS, right? Is it a product of UFAAS or do I have shares in it?
All right.
Just please explain that. Yes.
Yeah. So the product is entirely yours, and it's open source, but it's you who is the innovator. It belongs to you. So anyone who wants to use your code, it's your product. So you have to acknowledge you, on top of acknowledging UFAAS and AFAS.
Thank you.
Excuse me, George.
Yes.
I think it would also be possible where we come to a level where maybe it can be a partnership or something like that. If you're talking about if someone came up with something which can improve, I think partnerships can be allowed. What do you think?
So that is now for the long term, because you as the developers, you are going
not
to
in the competition. I'm not talking about the
Yes.
competition. It's the longer term.
Yes.
Yes.
So on as a supporting bit, if there is a product out there and UFAAS feels they are highly interested, they can come to an agreement with the developer and they come to terms of cooperation if they want him to develop it further. Yes, but what I wanted to clarify also to Joseph was that now that you've submitted as open source, it does not mean now UFAAS will erase your company name or your name as the developer. No, it's open source, but you are the original developer, and that remains the way it is. Others have to recognize as they reuse your code in any way if they are trying to. Yeah, so basically that's it.
That's reusing and also adding more functionality to your to the whole system as well. they reserve to what? To accredit you.
Joseph, was that clear enough or?
Perfectly, it's fine. I've understood that. Right.
All right, thank you. Any other concern?
Good morning.
All right, so I think we will answer any questions as they come up, and I think we can proceed with the program. But just along the way, if someone has any question, we can either answer through the chat, or we can even answer it through voice. Thank you. I hand over to Sam.
All right, thank you, John, thank you, George, for that feedback and submission. Let's get back to Adeline and proceed with the next part of the session.
Thank you very much, Samuel. I don't know whether Max is already online. Can we see whether Max is online, please, Elizabeth?
Max, not yet.
Okay,
Not
Max
yet
is
on the
not
call.
online. And pardon? Is not yet on the call. Can you please check for us whether he will be able to participate in the call? As I already mentioned, Elizabeth is also one of UFAAS. So if Max is not on the call, then we will request Elizabeth to give us some keynote highlights, and then we will proceed with our program. As I already mentioned, our program ran for today at around 3 p.m. for feedback session, and then we close for the day. Later, we will have day 2, where we still start the same time. I think we have started today or earlier at around 9. I'll cross-check that. And then we can proceed with our, tomorrow we are starting at 9. And then we will proceed as we will have shared the program. So right now, in case Max is not able to be with us, we already had an apology from him, and we will request that Elizabeth, who is from Africa Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services, to take us through the key highlights for this hackathon. Elizabeth. And in case Elizabeth is still finding out from Max, we will proceed and go to the first presentation, which is management of AEAS actors, database, and activities. Beatrice, is it okay for you to step in at this time? Beatrice?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. I've said that's okay. I can. I'm being told this will stop others from sharing. It's okay?
Yes, I think. Yes. Let it stop.
Okay.
Okay.
As I said that I'll talk more about this. Talking about this theme 1, I thought that first maybe people need to understand what has been UFAAS' role and work in professionalizing AES in Uganda. And I think I had, wait a minute, okay. This is one, because I know that many of the people who are now getting in this are actually ICT people, not agriculture people. So I think I have put 2 slides to explain, and I think when this is shared with people so that they understand what is agriculture extension, what is agriculture extension services and all that. Agriculture extension services, these include activities by government and non-state actors that facilitate the access of organizations and other value chain actors to knowledge, and value chain actors include farmers, to knowledge, information, and technologies. And it mediates the interaction with relevant organizations. It also assists them to develop their technical and management capacities in agriculture and family life. That's agriculture extension services. But then there is also agriculture advisory services. These are extension services which are provided to agriculture value chain actors on demand. You know, a farmer calls you and then asks you and you advise. The other one is not demand driven. It's everybody is actually entitled to agriculture extension service, whether you like or not, whether you know what is your problem. Because, for example, if a disease comes into an area, the ministry comes in or others come in and said, farmers, come, this is what you're supposed to do. Like the current SOPs are not advisory. They are actually services which are supposed to be put in place and you have to access them. Then we have the agriculture extension and advisory services. This is an all-encompassing, it's an all-encompassing term which includes both the proactive extension and advisory services. So when we are talking in the current time, we talk about both because it's a mixture. There are farmers who demand, but also these farmers also access extension services. I want people to understand, even when we are talking about developing innovations in AEAS, ICT innovations in AEAS, you need to understand what it is. And then also agriculture extension system. This system includes the entire set of organizations and systems and institutions, whether they are public or private or civil society, that are involved in providing agriculture services, extension services. Even yourself, if you provide a tool, if you provide an innovation, which is actually providing or helping in providing or quickening a smart way of providing agriculture extension, then you'll be part of the agriculture extension services. Then for agriculture extension and advisory service providers, these are the persons, organizations, of course, that directly work in the value chain with the agriculture value chain service providers. And by the way, when we talk about agriculture chain, when you was doing this or training, when you were saying the best definition of a value chain, an agriculture value chain, is from the hoe to the plate. Whoever is involved in between there is a beneficiary. Is an actor. And whoever is benefiting from any process, it starts all the way from the inputs and it goes all the way up to when people are consuming to the consumers. So in between there, people provide different services, and those are actors is a value chain beneficiary. So with that, I think then we are better. Now, what is what UFAAS has done in the professionalizing of has been one of our work since 2013. And in 2016, we signed an MOU with the ministry to support this process. So at the ministry or in Uganda, we are actually the one who have the money in that. And we supported the ministry to develop these 3 booklets. If you put them in, you find them on the UFAAS and the ministry website. One is on guidelines and standards for AES system in Uganda. Then there's an ethical code of conduct for AES providers, procedures for registration and accreditation of AEAS providers. And in supporting, under this also we've supported MyIF in the development and operationalization of a user-friendly e-registration mechanism for all AEAS providers. These are individuals and organizations. There is a designed and tested registration form, because this was a form which was agreed on in the booklet of procedures and e-registration and accreditation. It was provided on, it was actually, decided on, it was validated, and that's what all the actors agreed. Then uploading there's been also an uploading of the registration forms online. There are three forms, there are 4 forms. One for the individuals, there's also for organizations. Then there is also for the level of what we call farmer trainers. They are called the practitioners. And then also for foreigners, which I think is not very, very popular. Then establishing a link to form an upload for a decentralized database. This is temporarily hosted under UFAAS, though the argument was to host it, and this is being worked on. Then creating a mobile app that can be easy, ease registration, test and prove the working of the whole process, and commissioning. This was commissioned by the Minister of Agriculture during the last July. And what is pending on that is rolling down the registration at the district level and by the extension, district extension registrars, monitoring, backstopping the process, and also maintaining a periodic reporting. I thought that background is good, whoever is planning to work with us. But this is, by the way, UFAAS, because we are discussing at the Africa level, because it was being designed for all the countries which are participating, which has country chapters. And in this, actually, one of the things which we are going to discuss in the coming extension week, one of the themes is professionalization and saying, where are we? So it's like we are going to see where is each country. And for us, when it comes to this, UFAAS, we have really moved. The other countries have not yet moved as we have, apart from South Africa, which is really very, very small. But for them, they have a different agriculture and whatever. When we look at others, when we went to South Africa, they took us to a small-scale farmer who had a combined harvest, and that's their small-scale farmers. So their agriculture is slightly different. So how is UFAAS participating in this hackathon? So as a CF, and with our relevant technical working groups, that is ICT and CSA at country level, we are participating in the UFAAS effort to digitalize CSA and related activities, including the country hackathon 2021, which is where there is support in organizing the hackathon at national level. So UFAAS as a CF, we are down to support the organization of hackathon at national level, promotion of the uses of digital tools in CSA, production of CSA knowledge products, and strengthening the CSA technical working group and knowledge. And lastly, in that work, in our participation, UFAAS as a CF, okay, what UFAAS needs from the hackathon under theme 1, this is just UFAAS. As I've told you, this is a general thing which is applied to all the countries. For us, our desire is to expand and roll down the professionalization process at Africa level under hackathon by adding to our current work, which I've talked about. That's professionalization, e-registration, and maybe you can even go as far as e-registration. And this can be an independent or a partnership work. And this, what is mentioned in sub-theme 1 is actually, we can say, is somehow the gaps which we don't have. That's having where farmers can find competent AES workers for specific problems. We don't have it. Where we can know how many competent AES workers are available in a specific area at that time. The e-registration one, it captured what people are doing. I think their qualifications and all that, but it didn't go into those details. And then the type of services farmers need from already registered AES workers. We never went to the level of the farm. It's mainly, what we have is mainly capturing information from the extension workers. But also, this as part of the identifications, those ones are captured by the tool we have, but I think they need improvement. And then the recent work done during their recent work, which is done recently. Something to, I talked about that what was pending, being able to track and monitor what these people are doing. I think that's what I can say from that side, and just highlighting, I think this highlights what is needed, what we are looking out to, or we desire to look at to see happening. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Madam Beatrice, for that presentation. It has really thrown very bright light on theme 1 in detail. I hope our participants are now more covered with what theme 1 really wants to achieve. So I'm now opening the session for a Q&A in regard to theme 1 as presented by Madam Beatrice. Thank you.
All right. So Sam?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think we may have to skip and present theme 3 first. Yeah. Instead of theme 2. Is that okay?
That will be fine.
Okay.
Are there any questions for Madam Beatrice?
Questions? Oh, there's a message, I think, in the chat room. No, there is none. Damian, you're welcome. Serunkuma. All right, I think we can move on to theme 3, just an overview of what the expectations for under climate, weather information updates, and in agriculture. And share screen.
Yes, you can share screen.
Let me stop sharing, I think.
Okay. All right.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Is Agaba on?
So
Do you have Agaba?
Is on.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah. Yes, it is, George.
Yes. So under theme 3, the hackathon is looking at weather information updates and crop calendar for AES. So we know that weather and farming are two things that move together, which you cannot separate. And then crop calendar. Whenever we talk about weather in agriculture, the aspect of time comes in. So that is why we are saying weather information updates and crop calendar. That it's not enough just to know what the weather is. at just one time instance. For agriculture, when we talk about weather, we are looking at not just one day, because if you're going to plant, for example, you need to know if I put my seeds in the ground, is the water in the ground enough to sustain them to germinate? Because germination is not going to happen in one day. So you want to know for how long is it going to be raining? And if there is frost, you also want to know for how long, or if there is drought. As you plan your logistics, you want to know that, okay, if I am to irrigate, say my vegetables or anything that you're irrigating, you want to know, okay, how much am I going to spend? And the spending bit, how much will now lead you to how long? Because you want to know how much, you may know how much you're going to spend in a day, but again, if the weather tells you that you will need to irrigate for the next, say 1 month, then that will guide your decision making. So weather information updates in AES, we are basically looking at information, what we've called, for example, here, farm logs and so on. So the information that you gather from your farm, from the environment, with the help of things like weather stations, other sensors, satellites, and so on. Because most of the times we look at our phones, Google tells us the weather is going to be cloudy. But behind all that, you have tools, sensors that are gathering all this information, and then it's being given to us, the consumers, the farmers, the people in the market, to use for decision making. So in farming, weather information updates, we are basically looking at applications or developers or innovators that are looking at these things, providing weather information that is going to help the farmer, to help guide the decisions of the farmer. And in that case, it leads us to the concept of early warning and adaptation, because we are in a state where we currently have challenges as a result of climate change. And we know that we're not going to fight climate change. You cannot fight climate change as entirely. Okay, you can try to have a step towards fighting back, but again, you need to survive. You need to thrive as a human being. So as you fight the climate change, then you must have ways of adapting to what is already on your site. If it is very dry, you need means of gaining resilience towards what's happening. So that is what brings in the concept of early warning. And early warning goes hand in hand with weather and information updates. So if you do know that it's going to rain, on the left, the science is the sensors. It could be soil moisture sensors, could be just ordinary weather stations, could be just a meteorologist who is observing, and he has all the experience. That is the science and the ICT. And then on your phones or your computer, you have now the process data, which is now going to, you have the algorithms. We know most of you are developers, you've done these things, or if you've not done, you have the capacity to do these things, coming up with algorithms, coming up with applications to help provide information, forecasts, and so on. And we, as we mentioned in this hackathon, we're looking at open source. Open source has enabled us, for example, in agriculture, and then the people in weather, to reuse information. For example, not all of us can afford to, for example, set up a weather station, and not all of us may have the experience of coming up with forecasting algorithms, but we do know as developers that we can reuse what is already in existence. So, and we know there are very many free sources of this data out there, but we need developers who are going to customize this information to the Ugandan setting. You are the one who is in Uganda. The person at Google can give you an API to access certain data regarding weather, but they will not customize it for you. So you, the local developer, you know Africa, you know Uganda, and you know what challenges are in your community to write, but he might know how to read digits. He may not be able to interpret the weather information, but you know how to interpret it for them. And through that, through your application, you can bring all these things to life. Yeah, so we're looking at monitoring of the environment. We're looking at making informed decisions with the weather information that we have to aid our farm work activities and to help us reduce farm inputs, wastage of farm inputs. If you're going to irrigate, if you're just going to switch on your irrigation system every day and you irrigate without any information, you're losing a lot of money, because sometimes you're irrigating at a time where there's just enough water content in the soil. But if we have applications that are able to tell us the humidity is this much, or you don't need to irrigate tomorrow because there's plenty of water, then you're leading to the resilience bit, the adaptation bit, where you're reducing wastage on farm inputs in our communities, then reducing costs of production for the farmers. Remember, when we're looking at AEAS, and then as we are looking at things like CSA, climate smart agriculture, we're not only stopping at the production level, we are looking at also the finance, the markets, and so on. All right, so on the left, we are saying what and when to plant. That is what the weather information is now expected to solve. Then when and how much pesticide to use, and then how much or how long to irrigate. So these are just some insights. You can come up with a lot of things that you can build in the area of weather information updates for farming. So as the highlight, we are, on the left, you can see someone using a smartphone to access information. He knows nothing about all the science, the app development. So it gives an insight that what we expect is something as simple as that. Something that is user-friendly for the farmers. They don't need to know about very sophisticated meteorological things or sophisticated IT things. All they need to know is, when do I start to plant and why? So you're letting them know, you need to start planting today because the water content in the soil is this much, or it is going to rain for a period of this much. So that's all about weather and climate. So in this case, we're looking at climate change adaptation. With all that information, we are helping our communities, our farmers, to adopt to keep thriving, to keep making money while overcoming these shocks that are induced by climate change. Okay. So crop calendar, it's also one interesting concept, which basically benefits from, stems from the climate bit of it. That it's also hard to come up with a crop calendar if you do not know when it's going to rain forever, or for example, or if you do not know how long the drought is going to last. So when you look at the concept of crop calendar, it has been, for example, defined as crop calendar is the schedule of cultural operation needed in crop production with respect to time. So yeah, by talking about the crop calendar, of course, we know we're already thinking time, but what is it that we are looking at? So in this case, an example is given here from iPad, where they are used. Okay, we're looking at, for example, Tanzania. They are sample example of a crop calendar in Tanzania, where they have given down months. They are giving you January, February, and then they are showing people what to plant at a given time. Yeah, that if it is a case of corn, they're telling you if this color means that you can plant, that is the green. Then the orange says you can harvest. Then the gray says it is mid-season. So if it is mid-season, it makes no sense for you now to start planting. It means the season has already gone. So that's what the crop calendar is all about. You giving information, but this information is also powered by the weather information itself, because it's from the forecast that now you can create the crop calendar. It's also from the forecast together with the knowledge of people like agronomists that they will relate this much water is able to support this much, this type of crop or a range of these crops. And that's how you come up with crop calendar. So we're looking at, that is basically what it is in theoretically. So on the right, we're looking at an example from FAO, where they have a crop calendar. So you may not really develop exactly what you see here, or you already have what you've developed. What we're looking at is, for example, FAO is looking at several countries, but in our case, we want something specific to our communities, so specific to Uganda. In Uganda. So the crop calendar that you have, for example, for Wakiso, may not be the same crop calendar that you have for West Nile. It may not be the same crop calendar that you have for Kabale. So we can look at, have these insights into, if I'm going to come up with a crop calendar for my country, what aspects should I be looking at? How do I arrange my information to benefit communities where I'm working? You may not develop for the whole country. You may decide, okay, I'll start with just a small region, say like Victoria Basin, because you, for example, the meteorologist has told you that, oh, this region has almost similar weather pattern, these 4 districts and things like that. Yeah, so crop calendar objectives, the main objective is mainly, the main objective of crop calendar is to know in advance timing of cultural practices of different crops, Then other objectives are given on the side, that is to know the actual time of sowing and harvesting of different crops, to facilitate for managing of money, that is your resources, to assist in the proper distribution of labor. So you know that if I don't have any work to do right now, I can decide that, okay, I'll employ, I don't need to have permanent workers because it's expensive. I can always give them a schedule when they can come to my farm, that in January, please report, you will always be working for 2 months, and then you go back to your other activities. That way you are saving money. Then to assist in efficient management of crops, that is things like irrigation, things like pesticides, use of pesticides, herbicides, and so on. Then to know the actual time for applying fertilizer and pesticides, to record the results of different agricultural practices. Yeah, thank you. That's basically it about weather updates. In this theme, we'll be looking at basically weather information and then a crop calendar. So as you are refining because you might have a crop, a weather information system, and maybe it's only lacking a crop calendar, and yeah, you can use some time to read off some things or research and add something in relation to that. This is really missing. And for the existing AEAS registration portal, if a product like this is available, then most likely UFAAS will be interested and offer us in something like that. Yeah, thank you very much. Let's design for our community. As you saw, the example is that some organizations have crop calendars, but these are just giving something very general. And yet Uganda is not a plain land where weather is all the same across the whole country. So we need something specific. We need, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, George, for your presentation. I believe so many have really learned a lot from your insight.
I've sent a message, Sam. Have you seen it? Have you
Let
seen
me
my
check.
message?
Shortly.
There's one important slide which I think I skipped. I left out. I can just this one slide.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay. Are you seeing what I'm so?
Yes, please. Mm.
Okay, I think I had left out this one, and which is
Beatrice?
For the extension workers. Yes, not hearing me?
We had lost you a bit.
Hello. Sorry, because the internet, it showed me that it was. I said that, but the presentation is seen.
Okay, okay. Please proceed.
Are we seeing? But you're seeing what I'm sharing.
Yes.
Okay, and then for extension workers, something which allow registration in the database of AEAS workers, updates of profile and defense applications of services offered and recording of activities in a journal. Then for farmers, it will allow them to, something which allow them to search for AES providers and available experts, providers, either interact with the farmers. Then for the managers and policymakers, the application should allow them to analyze data and establish statistics related to the ES system and the stakeholders involved. And then a very user-friendly open source mobile application that allows advisors, seekers, and seekers and service providers to work even remotely and updating information. Now, I've put a note. Some of the above actually are included in the already existing e-registration portal. I hear some people call it portal application. And I think this would need to, in some of the areas, it will be improving on what exists, because I was discussing with these people. I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel right from as if nothing has ever existed. Yeah.
Right on that, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, that is it. I submit.
All right. Thank you, Beatrice, for that. I would like to just take us a little bit back to what George presented about the weather information system and the crop calendar. Could you be having any questions for him? Joseph?
They can also ask me. They didn't ask.
Okay.
Maybe they can ask now.
I encourage us to leave questions in the chat room. Anytime you get a hint of a question, just leave it in the chat room. All right. Let's proceed to the next presentation from Mr. Choice, the CSA expert. He will be tackling theme 2. Yes. Choice, you're welcome.
Yes, sir. Good morning, George.
Good morning, Choice. How are you? You're
fine,
very
I'm fine.
welcome to present theme 2,
Thank you.
database of CSA techniques, approaches, and knowledge.
Okay, let me start sharing my screen.
All right, please go ahead.
But yes, as the screen is sharing, my name is Choice Agaba, and I'm sorry I hadn't introduced myself earlier. Yes, you've ably introduced me as an expert, but well, I think I'm trying to locate this thing and how do you screen share?
Please tell us who you are and what you do and what you are in UFAAS.
Oh, so in UFAAS, I'm currently leading the technical working group, or chairing the technical working group of climate smart agriculture. Yes, and I've been working with the team for a couple of months now, where I've been doing some activities on enhancing the scalability of CSA amongst the UFAAS members. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
No.
Oh, I'm using a very unfamiliar tool today. Can you see it now?
No.
No.
Oh,
I think it's coming.
good. Still? Oh.
So, if possible, you could drop the presentation in the chat room, then I can share it from my side. Oh, it's fine
Okay.
now.
Oh, you can see it now?
Yes, but share the document. Good. We can see it now.
Okay. You can see it now.
Okay.
Yeah, but I will still share the document. Oh. Yes, my laptop got a problem, so I'm using
Tablet.
a
It's now
tablet,
okay.
and now okay. Yes,
Yes.
so you can see the introductory screen.
Yes, please. We are.
Yes. So I'd already given my introduction. Yes, and I also work for the National Agriculture Research Laboratories, one of the institutes under the National Agriculture Research Organization, and I'm a research officer stroke climate scientist. So I am in familiar ground, and I think actually my presentation also builds on from what George has already taken you through. And yes, he ably talks to you about weather and climate, but for this folk of developers, for this team of developers, I would just start by maybe tickling our minds and reminding ourselves again of what possibly climate change is, because this is an animal that everyone keeps referring to. Everyone who sees it rain today and not rain tomorrow will conclude that is climate change. But also as coders who are trying to interest themselves in this field, they should ably try to read and understand in depth the differences between these things. What's the difference between weather? What's the difference between climate? And what actually climate change is? Only then will they understand what climate smart agriculture is. But in a nutshell, like George already said, climate change basically refers to that long-term change in regional climatic patterns or even global patterns over periods of time. So basically, climate is summed up as long-term weather patterns, over that range from decades to millions of years. But here in Uganda, or like in other countries, we always refer to any climate change database as that spans over 30 years. So if you have a database that is below 30 years, you cannot use that to say that you're analyzing climate change. And then also we have things that we call variability, so you have to really learn these things But mostly with climate change, people often mean a change from the mid to the late 20th century, and it is largely attributed to the increased levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide and other gases that contribute to these changes. Other gases like methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, and the rest. So I think I would really implore the team that we are having today for the next 5 days to find time and look out for these things. Yeah, despite these changes in in climate or this changing climate, we shouldn't lose hope. We always have ways of how we can respond to these changes. I remember when we were in school, we used to say that if you don't change, change does what? Changes you. Absolutely. So, but the most probable ways on how we can respond to these changes in climate, we basically have two terms. There's what we call mitigation. With mitigation is you attack the causes of the climatic changes. We talked about the carbon dioxide and the methane and the likes. So basically, mitigation looks at having fewer gases released, and those are things through using energy efficient measures, and all planting trees, maintaining wetlands, things that can actually suck out that carbon dioxide from the space, and then you have fewer gases in the air, or you have a thinner blanket. We might not have time. If we had time, we would really go in depth on understanding the science behind climate change. And then the other option is to adapt. Adapting is basically the goal is to suffer less. How do you change your attitude? How do you change what you do to cope up with the impacts? We know that of course with the changing climate there comes many other impacts. Of course the drought that you've been talking about, and all those other things that all the things that that are happening around you. So basically the adaptation is you try to cope with those impacts. You watch trends, you plan ahead. So all the things that George has been talking about of creating those calendars, creating those things, you're planning, you're trying to plan on how best you can move with these changes, on how best you can increase your resilience towards these changes in climate by basically taking specific action on specific problems and prevent impacts. So now, what is this animal that we call CSA, or climate smart agriculture? The CSA framework basically began in 2010, of course, spearheaded by the Food and Agriculture Organization. And basically, they were trying to look at how best can they make agricultural production systems, and what could be their contributions to the Sustainable Development Goals in the context of climate change. That was the time around when they developed the Sustainable Development Goals. So they tried to look at how best agriculture could contribute to those goals in the context of climate change. So if you're to understand climate smart agriculture, it is basically, if you're trying to apply this CSA framework, it basically looks at how do you manage trade-offs and capitalize on synergies between three key pillars. The three key pillars here, I'm talking about how do you do an intervention that contributes to productivity, or that increases production. At the same time, it contributes to the adaptation that we earlier talked about, and of course the mitigation, or produces the gases that we're talking about. So when you look at the graph on your left side, it is basically the synergies that we do, the things that we do, the activities that we do in agriculture that contribute to all these three pillars in totality, all at least to any of the three. So most times you find that all the things we are doing, they're actually termed climate smart agriculture. So basically that is increasing resilience, increasing your production, and then mitigating greenhouse gas emissions. And then we have to understand that climate smart agriculture is not just a set of technologies. No, we're not looking at technologies only, but rather it is an integrated approach. It is an integrated approach. It is a process by which we integrate the urgent challenges of climate change in developing the technical, policy, and investment conditions to achieve sustainable agricultural development for food security. And then we also have to understand that it is not a one-man-fits-all code. You know, you have to specifically apply it, especially now, like for developing countries and smallholder farmers. You know, it has to be location specific. Not one technology, like George already told you, might not apply. For example, what happens in Masaka might not be the same thing that happens maybe in Gulu, because of the other micro conditions that might exist in those areas. You know, so it's not one man fits all. So it is up to us to contextualize contextualize all these sets of activities to make sure that they fit within our context and in our capabilities. So basically, CSA, it is a summation of the sustainable agriculture, all the things that you know about agriculture, the good agronomic practices have always been taught about, the conservation agriculture, you know, all those things that you use. And then you add it to resilience. And then, of course, the goal is to have less emissions. So basically, that would be the totality, all the summary of what CSA is. So how is CSA different from the conventional things that you've always been doing? So like I earlier said, CSA really puts more emphasis on hazard and vulnerability assessments. The things that I've highlighted in red, these are the things that I would want the team to, at a later time, maybe keep reading about and, you know, familiarize themselves with. So basically, CSA emphasizes hazard and vulnerability assessments, and it emphasizes weather forecasting. George talked about weather forecasting. Weather forecasting, that is a short term, and then, of course, for the long term, we talk about climate scenario modeling. And this is all to help us make informed decisions to plan our new and continuing agricultural intervention. Then CSA also promotes the scaling up of approaches that achieve the triple win. You know, for the other conventional methods of agriculture, someone might only look at maybe increasing their yield, and that is it. No, but for CSA, we are saying that it has to promote the scaling up of approaches that achieve the other triple three wins we talked about. That is production, increased resilience, and where possible, mitigate greenhouse gas emissions, while at the same time reducing poverty and enhancing ecosystem services. So most times farmers will tell you, me, I'm only planting my crops such that I can get money at the end of the season. But for CSA, it emphasizes that, okay, what is the added value of that crop that you're planting besides the food security, besides you getting the money, but at least can it contribute to conserving the environment? Can it contribute to maybe sucking out more of these potentially hazardous gases in space, you know, things like that. Then it promotes a systematic approach to identify the best bet option for agriculture investment. Remember, we talked about it being location and context specific. So you have to find the best bet opportunities for investment within your locality. It contextualizes the best bet options to make them best fit their specific content through learning and feedback loops. So and then of course it ensures an enabling environment is in place so that farmers can invest in CSA practices and technologies to catalyze adoption. So it is basically a fit of three things. You know, you have to identify what works for you in what context. So what works for you, what works best for you, helps you fit your locality, and then it can have that continuous loop of learning, feedback, you know, reinventing. Which we say that we shouldn't create new things. You know, you reinvent on what exists. You have to know that CSA, most of these activities we're talking about have not just started today or are not just started in 2010. These are things that have been available since the time of Noah, those of us who are Christians. So, but basically we keep on reinventing and making things better, you know, to adapt to the current situation. So what's the nexus between ICTs and CSA? Like George already mentioned, of course, with now the prevalent high-tech solutions to revolutionize farming techniques so that agriculture becomes more reliable, higher yielding, and more efficient. You know, And then as technology is increasingly becoming easier to operate, and coding skills like the ones that you people have today, of course, becoming more widespread, you are directly contributing to the revolutionization of agriculture. These days, it is not farming the hard way, but rather farming the smart way. How do we use these high-tech options that are at our disposal? How do we use the skills we've learned in school to interest ourselves in agriculture? How do we as the youth, because I know most of us coders are still within that age category, how do we get interested in climate without maybe necessarily even going to the soil? Most of us here going to the gardens and the like. You can still farm from your computer. George already talked about the technologies that are available. We're using ICTs to record farm information, real-time weather information and advisories, market information, irrigation scheduling, crop performance, livestock records. So, and one thing I wanted to remind you is that CSA does not only stop at crops. Most people only think of crops, but there's also the livestock and fisheries component embedded, and even apiary, so because agriculture encompasses all those things, livestock, crop, and the like. So don't only think of developing apps that maybe only look at crops, but look at the entire agriculture sector. I'll give you an example. George talked about the cropping calendar. I will even take you to a more local level. At Naro, we've developed what they call the seasonal characteristics tool. It is also one of the cropping calendars that basically was derived from analyzing variability in rainfall onset, the cessation. Cessation means the end of the season, onset means the start, and then the length of the potential crop growing season based on historical time series data. That was from 1960 up to 2015. And then the analog years. In weather, we have what we call the analog years. All the analog years are like a reflection, like a mirror time reflection of what is currently being predicted. We basically choose out a year that somehow resembles what is currently being forecasted. Basically, the tool is like George had hinted before. We have the seasonal forecast from the Ghana National Meteorological Authority that is always limited in understanding and interpretation. So this tool basically contributes towards the interpretation of the forecast and understanding of the forecast season, and it helps us to plan for the season accordingly. It provides advisories for what farmers might do in various locations. So this is a tool that is still continuously being developed and refined and invented about. We add in as many sites as we can. And of course, if you, the coders, can even come on board, we could even make this tool worthwhile, would make it even a better option. You can find it at that website there, and you can actually get examples of the expectations of what of George's expectations, perhaps even without looking at the higher databases of the FAO and the like. You can basically see how it works, how it looks like. Maybe you can learn a lesson or two on how best you can even make your tool. And then in case, of course, you decide to use some of the things there, you acknowledge the sources. Then there's also another application developed by the IIT. IIT is the International Institute for Tropical Agriculture. It's called the Stepwise approach application. Basically, this application promotes site-specific incremental application of recommended practices for smallholder farmers, and this is mostly used by the coffee farmers. It looks at incrementally increasing investment and yield by basically starting at those what are the farmer practices that the farmer does without investing any kind of money. And then after that, if you get money, how does it incrementally add and invest in his agriculture until the time that reaches a level that is comfortable with? So that application, you can also look for it. I think they also have it on the Google Play Store. And they are saying that it offers consistent and easily accessible guidance on the recommended good agriculture and climate smart practices, most relevant for a specific site. We're talking of specificities. George said that most of the things that are available are generic in nature. You find they say that the forecast says that the season is going to start from September to December, and then they say for for the entire country, it's going to be an above average season. Now, I mean, that is very generic. I mean, if it rains, if they say it's going to rain in Kampala, it might rain at Eureka, but then when you reach Nakawa, there's no rain. But for them, the people have developed the forecast. For them, it will be a hit because at least it has rained in some part of Kampala. So how do we go down deeper to the Beatrice like using a word? Is it called best last fit, something like that? So now going back to linking it to the database of techniques on approaches and knowledge. So basically, this is another theme whereby this theme will actually build on to what you people are doing today up to Friday, and then of course the theme 2. And basically, we are saying that how are we going to identify and validate the existing CSA knowledge products, and then how do we build around that to cause demand for this knowledge? How do we ensure that people actually yearn? How do they pull this information? We are not only aiming at pushing it to them, but how do they demand and request for this information? Then how do they innovate around the created demand? If we give them this information, how are they going to reinvent and make even this knowledge better? And then how do we even package it better to make sure that it is put in easier formats for dissemination? And then lastly, how do we widely disseminate this knowledge and products up to the last mile using the best fit format? And of course, that will be including the hackathon output from the activity that we are starting a few minutes from now. So basically, that is the interlinkage between these themes, Yes, so with that, I want to thank you, and I say let the coding begin. Here they are saying coding is fun, and just put something there to to make your morning even brighter. So you can start by pressing any key. That is if you know the key to press. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I look forward for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Choice, for that great presentation. It has given I believe it has given a very big insight to our participants today, and I'm sure we shall get the best of results from their ideas and innovations during these 4 coming days. So thank you. Let me hand over to Madame Adeline. Adeline?
Yes, thank you very much, our presenters. Thank you very much, our facilitator, Samuel. You all realized that we had presentations one after another. Theme 1 was talking about management of AES actors, database and activities. And Beatrice ably took us through the different actors that are involved in looking at the service providers who are diverse along the value chain, from inputs to the fork, which is consumption. Then we also looked at the service. Hello, Beatrice?
I'm saying that if Max is lost completely, I don't know what they found out. I could just say something, because without talking about UFAAS and this work, it's like we are hanging just at UFAAS level. If that time is there, I could just say small thing for people to really know what.
Yes, Beatrice.
Later, now or later, because we just started at the UFAAS level.
Okay, thank you.
Elizabeth,
Beatrice, I think you prepared something.
What did
she found out something and she shared with us. Yes, she found out that he is not able to join in today. He will join in another day. So I'll request Beatrice, you make something. Then after I have done this recap, you come in to just say something brief about UFAAS.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that.
Okay.
So just to do a recap, because we are going to have an evaluation at the end. It's just a very short evaluation of our session today. We started with theme 1, which was management of agriculture extension and advisory service actors, database and activities. And in here, we looked at the service providers, and also we looked at those who are recipients of the services. And we were looking along the value chain. The value chain means that you are looking right from input provision, production, processing or post-harvest handling, and then which they call the fork. Then we went information updates and crop calendar for agriculture extension advisory services, which Mr. George Serwada took us through. And he was also inspiring us on aspects of weather information that we could engage in, as well as aspects of crop calendar that we can innovatively and creatively come up with. Then we went through with Choice Agaba on the database of CSA techniques, approaches, and knowledge. And he shared with us some already online examples that we could pick on that explain climate smart agriculture techniques, approaches, and knowledge. He also shared with us the definition of climate smart agriculture. And just to assure you, all these presentations will be shared with you so that you are able to ease your work as we begin the hacking. But before that, Beatrice has requested that we really need to know this hackathon. Why mini hackathon? Because it's national, but we have a continental overview of UFAAS, which is the African Forum, Agricultural Forum for African Forum for Agriculture Advisory Services. So we will request Beatrice to kindly share with us a brief of UFAAS, and as you prepare for the question and answer session of all that has been happening, then after that we will go into the participants onboarding, which is Slack and Git by one of the downstream facilitators, and then we can start the hacking. But before that, Beatrice, are you ready to share with us something on UFAAS?
Yes.
Okay, let's invite Beatrice to stand in for Max, who is not able to make it today, but will be with us the rest of the days in one of those other sessions that we'll be holding. Beatrice, you're welcome.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I can share, I think.
Yes, you can share.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I just want to briefly talk about hackathon at UFAAS, but what is UFAAS? I talked about the UFAAS being a country chapter, and then UFAAS brings together national chapters. It's a continental body. It brings together national chapters in agriculture extension and advisory services. It's under one, and these are from the different countries. There are over now 40 countries, 44 countries which have bought into this, which are under this umbrella, and Uganda is just one of them. The goal of UFAAS is to enhance utilization of improved knowledge and innovations by agriculture value chain actors for improving productivity oriented towards their individuals and national development objectives. And UFAAS, the strategy focuses on strengthening and expanding networks and knowledge management capacities, developing capacities for scaling out technologies and innovations, and facilitating advancement of AEAS. UFAAS aspires to be a champion throughout in Africa. Actually, from AU, UFAAS has the mandate for AEAS. Like we have a organization, FARA, which has a mandate for research in agriculture. UFAAS has a mandate at the Africa level. And background to Hackathon, with the European Union hoping of smart innovations through research in agricultural innovation with development initiatives using more effective mechanisms. And this is, at this level, you bring together the agriculture extension and then research organizations. So under here you have those who have Africa, you have FARA, you have UFAAS. And then under it, we have the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program. That is the CADAP XP project. It's under the DESIRA program. And for the year 2021, in continuation with the efforts of 2020, UFAAS is putting more effort on digitalization of CSA and related activities. So we have a CSA program, but in there, UFAAS wants to put more effort on digitalization. And this, I think, he will tell us, but it's under the legacy left by CTA. And so a hackathon for database or repository of approaches, techniques, and knowledge. And you find you have hence the CSA in the country. It implements through the country chapters. Thank you very much. I think the rest
Thank you.
We have talked about it concerning, yeah.
Thank you very much, Beatrice. With that highlight about the continental, the continental organization, which is or institution called UFAAS. And just to inform you that even other country chapters are also going through the hackathon, and we've gotten so many impressive results from the different countries being shared on the line. And at least from Madagascar, we've had very high participation. And we know that even in Uganda here, we are going to be able to have very high participation, and we will also be having many different people joining as we go along. So right now, I'm requesting that we have the Q&A session. Please feel free to ask any question that you may be having on UFAAS, on UFAAS, on anything that we have discussed this morning, so that it enables us to be able to correctly go on boarding as well as start the hacking. So we will request, in case you are not able to speak, just share your question in the chat room. It will be read out and it will be responded to. And in case you want to explain yourself, kindly raise your hand and you will be reached out to. So I'll request that George, who is still with us, George, please look out for the chat and for the raising of the hands as we conduct this Q&A together, myself with Samuel. Thank you.
Thank you, Adeline. people from Joseph's team. Oh, Naika. Oh, Mr. Naika Julius. You're welcome. Please go ahead and raise your point. Julius?
That he can't hear the presenter. I don't know why he can't. I don't know why he can't hear you, because for me, I'm hearing him.
Naika Julius, please. Are you able to hear us now?
I don't know. Huh?
Naika, in case you cannot hear us, maybe the challenge is with your microphone, because I think all of us are hearing.
We are hearing each other, except I think him.
Julius, please, maybe you type your question in the chat room. George, please type something in the chat room so that Julius can maybe respond to that.
It looks like his microphone is not on.
Oh, then that is the challenge. Then that's the challenge.
His microphone is not on.
Does George, please just type in the chat room.
Ask him to be, maybe let me tell him.
Okay.
Because his microphone is not on at all.
Okay. Octavia. Octavia, please. Just share with us your thoughts. How is this session moving on for you? Is it very confusing? Kindly let us know. I'll just speak on random. Octavia, please.
Thanks very much. I want to take this opportunity to thank the facilitators for today's first day. Being the first day, at least a lot has been discovered. For me, I've discovered a lot. What I did not know about the agricultural extension services, advisory services. So the session is going on well, and I expect more in the coming sessions. Thank you.
That is very interesting, Octavia. And it's nice to hear that you are learning. Everyone actually is on the learning, because this is innovation at work. This is creativity in the making, in the science of agriculture extension. So we are also very excited on our part as UFAAS to have this launch of the hackathon. And maybe I'll just ask also one of the ladies on the platform to share with us what is their feeling as we move forward to the next sessions. Anne, how is your feeling about the sessions and how we are moving on, please? Yes, Joseph, you come next. Let's first have Anne's thoughts, and then you will be next. Thank you.
Julius was connecting again. He has, but when he connects, he has no microphone. So I don't know. You can see he has connected again, but he has no microphone. So I don't think he can go through. Unless, I don't know.
He's probably using the phone.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, he's using the phone, I think. Yes. Maybe he'll engage tomorrow.
He
So-
needs to join in audio when he's joining. I think let's have Anne, Joseph, and then Samuel, you can come in.
Okay, please. And or we could have
Okay.
Christine.
As Anne comes in, let's have Joseph. Joseph, please. Over to you.
All right. Now, I just have I've seen the presentation from the two gentlemen who were giving us a basis from which we can maybe come up with maybe innovate or something. Firstly, the first gentleman was talking about the weather and climate. Then the second one was talking about a database or a database of I didn't actually understand. I didn't get what he meant by the database of what actually. Now, my question is that are you trying to confine in the areas, because agriculture is quite extensive. There's market, there's with the climate itself, those are all sections. So is innovation directed in specific areas, or we can innovate around all the sector? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Joseph, for your question. And I'll require that Samuel or George also respond to this. But what I am responding is basically on agriculture extension services. As you are aware, this is contributing to the Agriculture Extension Week, which is going to be held in November this year. And we are looking at the services. How do we easily access some of these services of agriculture extension and advisory, right from input access to inputs that the farmers will use, that any producer will use. We don't want to specify that it's going to be crop, it's going to be animal. It's, as you say, agriculture is very wide. So we are saying that the services that are be able to be any agricultural intervention. George and Beatrice, you can add on to what he is asking. Thank you.
No, I think mine, you have clarified for extension. It's not just any specific area, it has to be broad. It can actually even be along the value chain. It could be something which is on CSA, but on maybe post-harvest, maybe at marketing level, but maybe, so it's not really saying maybe it is a particular crop or coffee or whatever, no. All crops, all animals, it could be soil on soil, it could be anything. Weather, as they have said, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Beatrice. Just to clarify, the hackathon has.
Samuel, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I'm adding. Thank you, Joseph, for your inquiry. The hackathon has one core theme, and that's hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
The hackathon has.
Yes, so we can hear you,
has
Samuel.
one main theme. That's geared towards developing smart innovations for improved agriculture production, markets, farmers' adaptation to climate change, and research. However, we have 3 key sub-themes. And the first theme is focusing on management of the agriculture extension and advisory services, actors, database, and activities. Then the second theme focuses on the database of climate smart agriculture techniques, approaches, and knowledge. If you can recall what Mr. Choice presented last in his slide, he gave a hint on what we mainly need. The DB focusing on the climate smart techniques, approaches, and knowledge, and how it can easily be accessed to everyone, and how you can attract people, how you can build a solution which is going to attract people to use the solution more and be more climate smart. Then the third theme, the third sub theme is meteorological and weather information on AEAS, which is in which George gave an example of a more detailed and resourceful crop calendar. Say, for example, Uganda. So I guess that is rather, I think that is what you would like to get a clarity on. We are focused on those three, on the three sub themes, and we want pitches and projects which can be developed towards that, or which are in line with that. If you can tweak yours just slightly to be in line with those three sub themes, then we are good to go.
So the three sub themes are one in line of market, another one is in line of climate, and then
Yes.
and then which one? The third one is what?
Then the third one, which is actually the first, is in regards to management of the agricultural extension and advisory services, actors database and activities. So it's more of like keeping the thumbs on how the different actors play along the field of agricultural extension and advisory services. Their skill set, what they have done before, and their location, their qualification, and how relevant can that information be used by the end users, that's the farmers, to determine who can give them the best service in regards to agricultural extension and advisory services.
All right. Then another one before you can end.
Yes, please.
About the pitching process.
Yes.
What is involved? Do we have? Do we need to prepare some slides, and because there's a presentation, there's when you're presenting the application, and then there's pitching process. So is it going to be combined, or it's going to be a different phase? And if different, what's involved in the pitching process besides the presentation, which we're going to make a video?
Okay. Now, the pitching process is going to come on day 3. That is,
Yes, sir.
let me just share what I have in the table, in the timeline.
Yes, this is day 3.
What is day 3?
At around 10. Yeah. 3-minute pitches, which are recorded videos per team.
Right. So the pitch is itself a presentation of the application of the product, isn't it?
Yes, and it. Yes, please.
Yes, it is. So in the pitching, we shall be presenting what we have made, we come up with. Okay.
Exactly, and how relevant is it that that what you're pitching is really going to address one of the 3 themes, the 3 sub themes.
All right. So when are we required to share the source code?
That is on the same day.
This will be on day 3.
On day 3 here.
Yes, on the same day.
I'm sorry, I'm maybe asking a lot, but to just more information.
Yes.
when do I know that I've succeeded?
No, please feel free to ask, because this is something that we all are learning.
All right, thank you. So now,
Yes.
after the process, like, am I required to submit in the details after I've known that I've succeeded? Like, for example, I've been chosen. I don't know how many you're choosing, but I don't know among the chosen.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
okay, let's go through the timeline afresh. So tomorrow, day 2, we expect the participants to present a project concept note. Just a one pager is enough. Talking about your project and how it's addressing the theme of your choice. There are three themes, so you choose to address one theme and then focus to solve that. Then
is that shared on email or it's a presentation like we're doing here?
If you have access to the machine now, or maybe we first receive him and then work on the machine. Check the WhatsApp.
Hello.
Joseph, I hope your questions have been answered.
hello.
We have Naika's hand up, but before Naika comes on board, Anne's hand was earlier up. Anne, can you please submit your question or clarification request or something that you wanted to submit? Then after Anne, we will have Naika Julius.
Hello.
Yes, Anne.
Yes,
Anne,
can you hear me?
please?
Am I loud and clear?
You are. Yes, you are.
Please unmute your mic.
Okay. Thank you so much. And we are really privileged to be participating in this very, very great opportunity.
Yes, Anne, we are hearing you.
Okay. My question is,
Yes.
for instance, when you look at the primary stakeholders, are we looking at what is happening, for instance, in Uganda, the local farmers, the agriculture officers, what is the target group? Yes, that's my question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, the target group is actually slightly broad, but as mentioned by Madame Beatrice in our presentation of the value chain, it rolls down from the input service providers, then the consumers, the marketers, and also the extension advisory service providers as well. So it's a combination of four people, of four categories of people. Madame Adeline can supplement on that.
Yes, I think you're very right. The target, we are looking at the whole value chain. This could be, depending on the sub-theme that you're going to answer to, you will need to know the actors in that sub-theme. One particular services goes beyond only the farmer to research level. It goes beyond to the whole value chain, which is input provision, post-harvest handling, marketing, and consumption.
even, can I just add, I know that, most of the time, the key beneficiaries within the whole value chain and the biggest number is actually the farmers. And then when you go to the other side of the delivery, you have the extension workers. But in there, when I was presenting, I think I emphasized the access, access to information. These beneficiaries, how they access at any level, including at production where you have farmers, how do they access extension services or agriculture extension and advisory services? And as Adeline says, when you find even at the lowest, if you look at inputs and all that, do you have something where you have the farmers or, are accessing extension services? I mean, the inputs dealers, making them provide better extension services, because at times there is an issue there that you find that some people even sell, they sell inputs, but they don't even have all that information about it. It could even be something which makes easy access to such information or providing such information, but even all the way, as she has said. But we know that the biggest bulk of beneficiaries are actually farmers.
Thank you, Beatrice, for that supplement.
And it could actually be the farmers not only just producing, but also maybe accessing markets.
All right. And I guess your inquiry has been addressed. You could inform us if you're satisfied with what you have been told.
Yes, we now have Julius Naika. Please, Julius.
There is a hand from Naika. Julius.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Yes.
Hello.
My name is Naika Julius. I'm representing Famunera. My first question is, I would like to inquire if already you have a working product on the market and already has traction and being used, do we qualify to be part of this hackathon, since hackathon looks like maybe something needs to be developed right from there? And I don't know if at all if you already have an existing product like what we already have as Famunera, which manages different challenge number one for managing different actors, advisory actors. We would still be qualified to be part of this. Then secondly, regarding on the activity number, is it activity number 2 for tomorrow, whereby we have to put up our code on the Git. I'm sure you mean GitHub, and Thursday, Wednesday, you'll be able to review it. On our end, when we inquired from our tech team, advised that it won't be safe for us to share our GitHub link to be able to review our code. However, if we already have a running product, can't you be able to just to share the link and then you review it and test it right from there on a live site, since it's already functional? Those are my 2 questions.
All right, thank you, Julius, for that inquiry. One, the main condition set by UFAAS and the supporting partners in this challenge is that code has to be availed. However, there is a category of having outstanding existing innovations which can qualify for grants. So where it gets to a situation where you can't share your code, then you definitely have a chance to qualify for a grant, for a sub grant, but not qualify for the challenge of qualifying to win in the hackathon, because the primary key condition was that if you're developing a solution in this hackathon, then you have to avail your code for open source, that even other people can build on top of it, or even address some other missing functionality. So, but there is an option of participating in the hackathon and also qualifying for the CSA sub grants. For those who have existing products and they can't share their code. I hope I'm clear.
Sorry, Samuel.
Maybe I can be able to clarify. We have API, we have endpoints for all our different functionalities on our marketplace. So by sharing our code, source code is different if you can share with them our API. Our API is safe to share, and anybody can probably use it and plug it on their site. Already we are doing this with several partners that we are working with, meaning they can always be able to put it anywhere and probably use it on their end, our API endpoints. However, the problem, the actual thing that I was really very keen on is giving you our code and everything. It means I've given you the engine of our business, engine of our system, and it's unsafe. However, the API application programming interface is okay to be shared around, and anybody can use it because we built our API purposely for that. So that third parties can always be able to use it and plug it anywhere if they choose to. So how about that, if we can be able to share our API?
Samuel?
I was muted, sorry, I was muted. Yes, Julius, we understand the issue of having accessible APIs, and it still won't address the main goal as set by UFAAS. But it addresses a goal under CSA innovations, which is also being addressed in the hackathon, which we are having.
All right. So meaning that Famnera won't be able to participate in this hackathon in summary, because I don't think we meet the criteria.
Samuel, I have a question. Sam.
You're participating in the hackathon under a different category. Yes, please. Yes.
Do the grants, okay, I know that I'm part of you, but of course you're the IT person. Do the grants fall under the 3 themes?
Yes, they do.
Okay, because when I was presenting, was saying that we are also trying to, it would be good if some people came and they want to add on to the current, what do you call it, app? What do you call it?
The existing application.
The existing application. And so those ones have to be the new ones.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Then Octavia. Octavia.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. I'm from Gizmo Solutions, and
Madam.
I've actually 3 questions to inquire about. The first one is like if at all I have a solution that attempts to solve more than one problem.
Yes.
And of which of the problem, problems all fit in the sub-themes provided. However, I see according to UFAAS as if you value each sub-theme to be solved by one problem. So I don't know how I'll be able to tackle that if I have a solution that tackles more than one problem. Then, secondly,
yes.
I also want to inquire about the submission of the concept note tomorrow. I want to know by which way shall we submit? Is it by email or? So I want some more clarification about the submission process.
Okay.
Then finally, I also want to understand how many groups will be awarded. Is it only one group that will be dominating the other groups, or some other more groups will be given something for participation? Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. So thank you, Octavia. I just answer your first question that if you have a solution which tends to address all the 3 sub-themes, how would you qualify and for the challenge? Now, you can choose on your end and between your team where your solution fits best. Where it's, how strong is it based on the 3 on the 3 themes? Which theme does it address best? So that's how I would advise you to select which category to compete in. Then how to submit the concept note. It will be submitted via email tomorrow. Then for the awards, we have 3 categories. Each category that you see there has an award. The first theme for the AEAS actors database, the second theme for the database on CS activities, and then the third theme for meteorological weather and the crop calendar for AES. They all get an award for the best and the second best solutions, which will be pitched. However, take note that UFAAS set a rule of, in case someone is to really get an award, they have to submit their code. So that is the key rule. If you look at the rules which are stated on the website, it was very clear that to qualify for the prizes, you have to submit code, which is a way to promote open source development. Am I clear enough?
Then I need some more clarification, sir.
Yes, please.
About the source code. What if the project is still in ideation and the source code has not yet been developed? So I need some clarification about that. Thank you.
Okay. Still, that takes us back to the rules that source code is key. However, we don't need a fully functional prototype. There should be code, at least for the judges to review and then confirm whether you really, whether a team really qualifies for the award, for an award. They have to look at code. I hope I'm clear.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And any burning questions still? Have I answered everything? And also, just to take you back to Mr. Julius's concern from Famnera, we shall be, for those who have existing products already, there is a slot for identifying existing products which address the 3 themes or any of the 3 themes, and you will be called upon to submit a request for what for.
Nkubira ogundi nkusasule lwaki oyagala nkumenya muzeeyi.
All right.
Unmute yourself, okay.
So, any other question, please?
Octavia has his hand up.
Wasn't that an odd hand?
Yes, I've responded to Octavia.
Okay, I think we are getting close to the end of our session today. I'll request Elizabeth. Elizabeth, are you ready with our questions?
Which questions?
As we close the day. As earlier mentioned, we are going to do kind of a feedback session on our part as well. And
3 minutes, Adeline.
Pardon?
About 3 minutes, please.
Okay. Thank you. Let me just take Beatrice through what she's asking. As earlier mentioned, today we are going to have a feedback session, and we are going to use some of the either a poll or a Metimeter for our evaluation as we close the day. So Liz is going to take us through that, and we will require each person on the platform to please share their knowledge or their understanding of what is happening, so that we also go back with the feedback session for our improvement, for the improvement of the next event, so that we are not off board. Thank you.
As she comes.
Thank you very much, Adeline. I can confirm that the evaluation is ready. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome again, and thank you for participating. I've posted
Please tell
a link.
us who you are.
Oh, Beatrice, thank you. I introduced myself in the chat. My name is Elizabeth. I can turn on my video. Looks like it is disabled. My name is Elizabeth Asimwe. I work with UFAAS as the Officer for Communications, Information and Knowledge Management. I'm happy to be here today. If you can see in the chat, we have posted a link to a very short Google document with 3 questions. Please tell us how you found this event. Question 1 asks if you found the meeting helpful? It is a yes/no question. Question 2 is what went well? You can share any 3, or you can even share more. There is adequate space for that. The next question is what could have been done better? We'll be happy to hear from you. And lastly, you can share with us any other feedback that you may have. And with that, we can wrap this up and have that information. Thank you. And we envisage that this will take less than 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes is good. Thank you. And someone is asking if the recording will be shared. Yes. I can confirm that responses are coming in. If you find any challenges accessing the link, please let us know.
Madam Elizabeth, I cannot access the link.
I beg your pardon. I can't hear you, unfortunately.
I cannot access the link. I have the link in my chat, but when I tap in the link, they told me it cannot load.
Okay. It's available, Octavia. Are you signed into your Gmail account?
Yes, please.
So if you click on the link, it should pop up and probably open in the browser.
You could
Just one.
Has it opened?
Some of the 2 responses that have come in, the participants have found the meeting useful. What went well? They are saying that the themes were well explained, the facilitators well engaged, and the present. What could be improved? Asked questions that one said none, say about and more information about the pitch process, clarification on the issue of open source. All points do not seem to be very comfortable. That is what is coming in. And going back to what could be improved, another one is saying that we need to allow all innovations to compete if they comply with open source. And we've only received 3 responses so far. Please keep them coming in. Thank you.
Okay.
Just wrapping it up, the 6 people that have participated so far have found it useful, like you can see on the screen. And what went well, again, adding on what had been shared before, the clarification on the whole program and the competition was very good and has gone well. Very clear and audible. Meeting was very resourceful. Thank you, people, for the feedback. The presentation of the 3 themes was very comprehensible. We appreciate it. Thank you. Again, what could be improved? We may need to allow, okay, this has been shared, but just to add on, by that, the person meant new and old. Another one said, thought we could get a document about the challenge and prizes as a PDF. It would be very helpful. That is noted. Thanks for the feedback. Except for the presentation of the UFAAS and AFAS, the slides should be shared. Well noted. And again, as Sam shared, the recording will also be shared. The time frame of presentation of ideas to be increased, that is the pitching, to at least a week, but not 3 days. Oh, Tim, you've heard. Thanks for the feedback. I'll request Sam or George to respond to that. And regarding any other feedback, groups without a source code should have a way to be handled, not to be rejected. That is noted. Not much so far. We'll be letting you know as we get along. We're anxious. Kindly share the recording of this presentation. We'll do that. UFAAS should continue organizing more hackathons. Wow, that's noted. Beatrice, I know you've had this. Thank you. Some were kind to share their contacts, which we cannot show.
In your docket,
thank
so
you so much.
Hear more.
All right. Okay. Another thing that went well, the introduction of committee members and a brief background of UFAAS. That's great. Thank you. All right, Adeline and Tim, I propose we end it here. I take the mic back to you, Adeline. Thank you.
Thank you very much, team, and thank you very much, our contestants. We've gotten all these questions coming in, and just to confirm, the sessions are still ongoing, and we are going to respond to all your questions and your requests. There are some of the issues that Sam needed to clarify, but just to inform you that tomorrow we have a similar session, which is at 9, and he will come with more concrete, clarified information that he will be able to share. So just if we have from the facilitators, I think if we don't have any other issues to note, I request that we close here because I think time is not on our side, so that we can pick it up from here tomorrow. Our facilitators, any issues that we need to talk about now? If
yes,
we
need to talk about tomorrow.
Adeline, there was, oh, sorry. Adeline, there was some feedback from the chat about extending the pitching time.
Yeah.
Maybe Sam or George can say something about it.
Okay.
All right, thank
Sam
you,
or George, please.
Elizabeth. As regards the pitching time, it is to take place. It is scheduled to take place on Wednesday at on Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. But we advise the teams that they can pre-record their pitches. We won't be doing any live pitches. We want you to prepare your pitch, record it, and try to fit it within 3 minutes. Unless you're asking us to allow for 5 minutes of the pitch, but we were thinking that 3 minutes could be sufficient to really bring out your idea. We shall talk more about the pitching tomorrow, and I hope you'll get more clarity about it. Then we have skipped only one session for today. That is participants onboarding as regards Slack and JIT, but that will be handled shortly tomorrow. But check in your chat. I've sent a link to a very nice YouTube video regarding Slack onboarding. So please watch it. It is brief, and by the end of the day, I think we shall be in touch with you regarding other programs to proceed tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam, for the clarification.
Just Adeline, just a quick one. Just before we end, I propose we can have a group picture if the team allows.
Members, could you please allow your videos to be on?
And those using the phone, let's use the landscape mode for our pictures, please. And thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much.
Christine, Robert, Damian,
we meet tomorrow,
Ronnie.
skip time, so that we can have our facilitators and our contestants.
More are still coming in. Tracy is there. I can see Joseph. I can see Octavia. Oh, nice seeing you guys. Nice seeing you. Hi, Christine. Robert and Eric, you're not visible.
Okay.
Wow.
Sam, please take from your end as well. Thank you.
Yes, I am.
All right, thanks.
Octavia, you're off. I can't see your video. Joseph and Damian, Ronnie, Scovia, and someone who logged in via Techno WX3. Your video is not being seen.
All right.
And your camera is.
Thank you very much again. We meet tomorrow at 9. The link will be shared with you. Bye-bye.
Adeline, can we remain on? Can the facilitators remain on after other people have left?
Okay. Thank you everyone for attending.
Thank
everyone.
you.
Have a lovely
Bye.
afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.